L'chaim v'li brocha, to life and to blessings. Ah, David's coffee, amazing. By Chassidim, a melody is the pen of the soul. It expresses the depths of the soul. So there's a melody, Ashreinu, Matov Chelkeinu. Ashreinu, how fortunate are we? How fortunate are we? Matov, how good is our portion? How good it really is. So the human condition is that the grass is greener. Yeah, by me, that's for sure the truth. There was so much heat over here, and only this, well, actually, before Shabbos, I put on the sprinkler so the the yellow grass should turn green. So not only is my neighbor's grass greener, mine was yellow. Mine was yellow. Yes, my neighbor's grass is greener than mine. Maybe when after watering, maybe it'll turn green. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But that's the human condition. Right? And therefore we're envious. But let's say we're not envious, right? And we recognize the blessings that we have. I have lush green grass in my own backyard. My own life, the portion of in my life that I have is amazing. You know the old story that they say in the shtetl, in the town's village. They gathered in the center of town, and everybody brought their pekalach with them. Pekalach means their pack. There, right? Today you would call it a backpack, right? You know, that backpack that weighs you down and makes, and it's heavy on you, right? That weighs you down, life's burdens that weigh you down. So everybody brought that to the center of town, and they all threw it into the center of town, into a pile. And of course, we all know the story. Everybody went and looked around. They saw, the burden you have in life, the burden that you have in life. Oh my God, you know what? I'll take my own peckle. I'll take my own backpack. I'll take my own burden back, right? We all take back our own burden. Yes, my yellow grass, I'm keeping. I'm keeping my yellow grass. No doubt about it, folks. That's the human condition. Correct? Am I wrong? Yeah. But that's not what we're here for. To learn about the human condition. You could get some nice philosophical, nice sayings. You could go on YouTube. You could go on Facebook. You could go everywhere and find some cutesy, nice things that will tell you, keep your own backpack. Keep your own burdens. And don't cry about your burdens. Just be happy with your lot, with your portion in life, right? That's what you came here for, though. You came here to learn divine truth that you won't get anywhere else, except when you learn Chassidus, when you learn Tanya in particular. Welcome to Tanya today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zichron Kadesh from Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. We continue in the seventh letter. And this letter, the Alter Rebbe outlines how fortunate is our portion. Not how green is our grass, right? Which that represents, green grass represents what? The things I have in my life, the possessions I have, or perhaps maybe the relationships I have, right? The things in my backyard, in my life, that are wonderful, and therefore I'm appreciative of them, which we need to be, by the way. Of course, there's no question about that, and thank God for that. But here we're learning something much more profound, that our portion is just one thing: God. He's our portion. Not the things we get from God, because we get everything, even David's coffee. David makes it. He's David is the conduit for God's coffee. Okay. It's good even cold. That's how good it is. Yeah, we've been here for a while. That's how good it is. But our portion is not what we get from God, but God himself. Which, of course, that's a bit of a difficulty. Because since when do we make God into portions? Okay, here's apple pie, and we're going to divvy up the apple pie. Here's your piece, here's your piece, here's my piece. And, we all get a piece. What does it mean about God? How are you going to speak about to get from God a portion that what he's giving you a thing? Oh, that, right? But of him, how do you have a portion of him? He's indivisible, right? So we started explaining this in the previous class. We continue with this thought. What does it mean? The core essence of God is no doubt indivisible. And God, his core essence, is here in a way that he transcends by being here, that he's not trapped by being here. He's not enclosed, his core essence being here, that he's affected by the environment of creation. But then there is the way God contracts upon himself to create a ray of light, not the sun, but the ray that emerges from God, the ray of light, the ray of vitality that comes and descends, comes and animates beings in created and formed and made ways. Briya, Yitzira, and Asiya. And these primary rays of light, they're divided into 613 primary rays of divine light, which correspond, of course, to 613 commandments of the Torah, right? These are the 613 conduits that transmit the radiance of the infinite of God. Why? Why that way? Why 613? Because what's the point of the 613 lights of God to illuminate this world? What's its purpose? It's to illuminate us, our soul. And our soul is made up of, our being is made up of 248 limbs and 365 sinews, meaning we're made up of 613. So the whole point of the light of God is not God's a tree hugger. He's not a dog lover. Sorry. Right? Sorry for all those who have dogs. Right? He's not. Does he take care of them? Absolutely. But that's not what he created the world for. He didn't create it for the dogs. He didn't create it for the trees. Right? He didn't create it for that. By the way, I had a couple of dogs when I was a kid. That's okay. I got over it. Yeah. Because the main purpose of the radiation of the light of God is for the soul, where the ultimate purpose is man. Right? So God's being is utterly uncompounded, but yet there are division in parts. Why? Because the light of God contracts upon the uncompounded to make it into lights of God that can permeate the soul. And therefore, there's a concept of parts of God, 613 basic ones. Those 613, though, just like each commandment, as we learn in Maimonides and Rambam, right? We learn so many details when it comes to just one commandment of heed the Shabbos, right? The prohibitions of Shabbos. Heeding, 39 different categories of what it means, work. And in those, every one of the 39, there's detail after detail after detail. So the subdivision of 613 comes into many finer parts. They are what we call the 60 queens, which are the 60 tractates of the Talmud, right? Meaning that the supreme will of God, because what is the source of God animating the world? He wants to. It's his will. That will is expressed in 613 commandments. That 613 is further expressed into the minutia of detail of Jewish law, which each one of them is an expression of the will of God. Each one then is a vital force of the will of God, right? And the truth is, we have 248 organs or limbs and organs of the body, but each one is made up of billions of cells. We have 30 trillion cells in us, right? So the cells, right, all of everything is broken down into the minutia of animating and making me into a person. Likewise, the ray of God, 613, from 613 into, the minutia that of the ray of God, the vitality of God that animates everything of creation. Now, interesting that Adam, he was the first person. He embodied all of the souls for all future generations. Right? 613, and all the souls, innumerable sparks that he was an embodiment of. And then that became through the patriarchs. They became the embodiment of all the Jewish souls for all future generations until the times of Mashiach. And in particular, who was it? Jacob. Yaakov. Why Yaakov? He's the father of the 12 tribes. So he is the embodiment of all of the Jewish souls of all generations until coming of Mashiach. Right? In other words, and this is what it says, that the consummate beauty of Jacob resembles the consummate beauty of Adam. Because what makes somebody beautiful is interesting, huh? Their soul. But what makes them consummate beauty is they're the embodiment of all souls, not just their own soul. That's true beauty, right? So like when you look at the Rebbe, right, he's the embodiment of all souls. And that's why a Rebbe, just like the head is, controls the entire body. So Rebbe, Reish B'nai Israel, the head of the Jewish people, the acronym for the word Rebbe, is an embodiment of all souls. And that's why they know what happens to every single soul. They're so attuned to it, to the soul, totally, right? Why did Adam lose being the embodiment of souls? Because he sinned. So he lost it. And Jacob took that over, comprising that of all souls, right? Yeah. So this then is the verse that we had earlier that we mentioned in the previous class, that Israel, Jacob, the patriarch, compounded all of the souls. This is the meaning that he says that he called out to God, Kael, God of Israel, right? Usually it was the God, the God of Jacob. Here's the God of Israel. Why? Kael denotes kindness, God's kindness. What's kindness mean? Your desire to connect, right? God communicates. The hidden light of Jacob, right? That it shall radiate the Ein Sof from concealment to manifestation in a revealed manner, the God of Israel, meaning the embodiment of all the souls. In other words, that the light of God should be illuminate every soul of Israel. That's what he calls upon God, to illuminate every Jewish soul. Jacob Israel, right, of Israel, of the Jewish people, right? Yeah. For those who are upright, meaning in fulfillment of Torah mitzvahs, that when you fulfill Torah mitzvahs, your soul should be illuminated with the light of God. That's why he's calling out in the name of Israel. For the God of Israel, meaning the God of every Jew, that his kindness should illuminate our soul when we do a mitzvah, right? When is that experience happen that we just spoke about? Primarily in prayer. It's illuminating us every time we do a mitzvah. You just take a coin and put it into the charity box, right? That's a mitzvah. You put on your tefillin. You, whatever. You make a bracha. You learn, right? You're getting illuminated by that each time, right? But where is it specifically experienced, or the possibility of experiencing, is in the time of prayer. Yeah, that's That's a lot of work. Hmm? Yeah.
Which means work, basically.
Right. Hard work. It is.
Yeah, it is.
Prayer is. All right, folks. Tonight we will have Torah studies online only. Okay. Was Adam meant to be Jewish if he was meant to be the embodiment of Jewish souls? So Adam was, originally all souls would be Jewish. With his sin, that was lost. It was lost and was picked up by the patriarchs, and particularly Jacob, the consummate of it, right? Yeah. What that means, I don't understand. What that means exactly, I'm not certain, but that was the, so to speak.
You don't want to make it easy on us.
As they say, as many people of goodwill say after October 7th, that we're all Israel. We're all. But here it means in souls. It's a bit different. Eugenia, it's her birthday. Mazel tov, mazel tov. Today is Charlotte Silfkoff and Erwin Butel. Their yard site. May this Hashem was be illuminated. So this is the portion that we have of God, right? More on it to come. We're not finished. Tomorrow we're going to learn the conclusion of what it means, a portion and lottery. How do you get a lottery of God? I won the lottery. Well, we'll see. Can everybody win the lottery? More to come. All right. Thank you, folks. There will not be Rambam right now. Sorry.
Make it shorter. Yeah, we're on strike.